legacy because we are what? Legends.
I was like, it's fine. Let them know. Let them know.
Maybe if I'm writing an essay, I'm trying to put some flair on it. Throw a little, however, a whom.
Still. I'm one of those people that believes that like home can be found in people in some places. I wouldn't really consider where I'm from home.
Big ups.
So,
Big ups, Bridgewater, Massachusetts.
so yes, me and Desmond are both from Bridgewater, Massachusetts. Small farm town.
There's only like 3 farms.
Whatever, it's good enough. And yeah, 98% white. Had a lot of interesting experiences growing up there, so I don't really think that I would consider it to be a place that I would call home. But you know, all my family lives, or a lot of my family lives in the neighboring city.
So yeah, Bridgewater for me, like Anéya, I don't consider the town itself to be home. I do think, like speaking of a home, I would think that my father's house in Bridgewater would be that for me. Or I guess it's a lot has to do with sounds and the sounds of home for me. Like in the summer, waking up and going to sleep to like frogs, waking up and going to sleep to crickets, waking up going to sleep to the sounds of like my little cousins playing around. And when I was like one of those little cousins, like playing and screaming around the house and often things over like that.
Chicago itself is always gonna have a special place in my heart because like there isn't anywhere like it. Like the every street like has like a different like song, and you like get different vibes from each neighborhood. Like going down being in like Grand Park itself is different than being in Hyde Park or any other like area in the city, and there's nothing that I've experienced like that. So that's why I like big cities. So I'll call out Boston for not being one.
Again, with the slander.
From the first like chance that they could put me in school, like they took me all the way out to like the best schools that they could get me out into the south suburbs. We lived on the south side our whole lives. But with that said, the demographic was a lot different than like circles that I would encounter outside of like an educational background. So me going to school, especially when I first started, like I went there in first grade. It was preschool to like 8th grade, but I started in first. Like from the very beginning, my parents were discouraged from like enrolling me in the school based on race. They had made the assumption that I wouldn't do well. So like I started to encounter my blackness like making me an outsider around 4th grade. Because up until then, I had like all white friends. We all played sports. It was fine. It was fine and dandy. But at one point, I was like, "Mom, I want to like make non-white friends." And she was like, "What do you mean?" And I was like, "Well, I'm different." And at that point, that's when things started to shift. By senior year, I was very comfortable within the black community, but I'm not like that social a person. So like entering into spaces like that and not being sure of myself made it really difficult for me to make those types of like transitions.
Yeah, I feel what you're saying, which is at the end, where like by your senior high school, you wanted to be in a black space.
Yeah.
Right, but like it was hard. So I felt that too when I was in high school. Yeah, elementary, middle school, like there was no black kids.
Like we didn't even become friends till like junior year of high school. Like it took a long time. Like I was really in the sunken place.
Yeah. I don't even think for me, well, I thought it was like originally like, oh, I'm not black enough or whatever.
Right.
I'm just gonna like come in there when I already have like friends because I grew up in this environment, not because like I wasn't black enough or anything. Something that I struggled with kind of is my dad like trying to tell me that I'm not black and trying to tell himself that he's not black. So I'm like, oh, what are we? He's like, we're mixed.
Because Cape Verde is not part of like continental Africa, not part of the mainland. It gets erased a lot of times from maps. People just cut it off.
Yeah, we're both Dominican.
Yeah, Dominican. I guess everyone thinks we're Dominican.
Yeah. Or people trying to tell you that Cape Verde is in the Caribbean.
Or try to tell you that it's in South America.
Yeah, it's in South America. Cape Verde prior to the 15th century was not, like it wasn't an inhabited island. It was inhabited and populated because of the transatlantic slave trade. And it was a stop like on the way to the Americas. So like the population there is mixed between like Europeans, specifically Portuguese, like slavers, traders, merchants, and also enslaved West Africans. I said in the paper I wrote that I have a light skin aunt, looked like Michael Jackson. Got a dark skin aunt, looked like Michael Jackson.
No, you didn't say that.
Yes. So that's how I described it.
Oh my god. Our whole family is just very, on my mother's side, is very like deeply rooted in our heritage and our ethnic background of being Cape Verdean. So like there was never any question in my mind of that from the beginning. Like I always knew I was black, I always knew I was African, and knew that I was Cape Verdean, but growing up in a town like Bridgewater, it's always something that even when I was little, like, I tried to suppress. Like, obviously people knew that I was black, but, like, I didn't want there to be any outlying factors. Like, I really tried hard to, like, assimilate over the years growing up, and it wasn't until maybe, like, halfway through high school that I finally, like, started coming to terms with that and started, like, not caring about what other people thought. I don't know, main language that most Cape Verdeans speak is Cape Verdean Creole. So it's like a combination of Portuguese and West African dialects. You know, all my aunts and uncles speak it. My mom speaks it fluently, she grew up there, but she never taught me and my sisters. And that was, and I remember that also being a thing, like, on my end that I purposefully tried to, like, distance myself from. Even when I was a kid, like 7 or 8, I'd be like, no, I don't want to learn it, like, I don't want to know. Like, maybe my mom stopped putting me in CCD. I just, like, really tried to distance myself from the culture because I didn't see anyone that looked like me at the school, so I was trying to fit in as much as possible. Even though we've always been connected to our family, it's been such, like, a shift growing up that we've had to, like, go back and forth in between, like, this whiteness and then, like, being very specifically involved in our Cape Verdean community. Our cousins always being like, oh, it's because you're white, your family's white, your parents are white, because you grow up in this white town with this white population, so it's always been hard to, like, find that balance and connect on both sides, and there never really is, like, a full connection on both sides, so.
I'm phenotypically black, but like my cousins were like, that's because you're white. Because of the fact that I wasn't like growing up around them all the time and I was going to school out in Bird, my entire like grasp of like language was different. Like why do you sound like that? Why do your parents like think that they're better than us? Why don't they come around? They always leave barbecues early. Blah 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 blah. like us being like separated us completely. I got my blackness question within that context at home. With like family, and then also when I tried to like perform blackness around like other black people.
It just felt like fake living in Bridgewater and like having barely any black friends, and like I made it a point like coming to college that I wanted to be fully immersed in like the black community, whatever that meant. I don't know, just being in like a black space has really like taught me how to like be comfortable with myself and like be true and like learn to be real with the people around me, because yeah, like this, like I've never had that space outside of my own like family context.
Like I just literally never been in a black space before. A black space that wasn't my own family. So like how do you interact in a black space when you've never been in one? Like just be yourself.
A lot of the things that I've come to love now, like my skin or like my like features, aren't things that I was comfortable with because they'd be like pointed out and like used to make me feel as though I was different or uglier or not as like desired. So like I used to like sit like at the bath and like scrub at the end of the day because I was like I need to get lighter. So this is something that people will stop talking about. It's like learning that like one, that's not something that's my fault, and two, that like people are wrong for making me feel that way are things that like were taught to me by parents. Other like black figures that were like prominent in LA, and also like the internet, because that was something that like I got to explore in my own way. There's certain things that I wasn't allowed to talk about within like certain black contexts that I could like find out about on the internet. Whether it's my queerness, that's something that I'm personally not able to talk about within my black home. So having the internet like tell me like one, you're not alone, was incredibly important to hear, and like two, that being black and being queer at the same time are possible. You don't have to choose. You're able to love yourself within both of those. Those are lessons that I learned on the internet that I couldn't learn on. Also, Twitter has been a big part of our...
As we know, we were gonna get to this anyway, obviously, but...
We have a Twitter DM group where we literally just send each other tweets like throughout the entire day.
We literally all have the same sense of humor.
Yeah.
It's like weird, like it's bad.
Like if we showed anybody else, they'd look at us weird.
Like usually it's like a extremely over-filtered picture.
Sisters, my sisters.
Let's see if I can find
But it was
You
like,
have such
black
an
people are the
immense
only
shadow
people.
where it's still inside you.
the hurricane.
Which one?
Fleur.
Lady, it's really blurry.
still scrolling, but I want to.
Pick a good one.
Spooky Black is leading Antifa.
Yeah, no one else would get that.
Anéya is definitely somebody screaming and their face is like distorted.
Okay, so I have a folder.
Maybe like this one. I feel like this could be you.
400 names. And Scooby would call me Pepe the Frog.
Yeah, no, I'm not gonna do that
Isn't
though.
that a meme in reference to like Pepe
Noted
the Frog
that
with a gun
it's a
says
Pepe
enough?
meme, and Pepe is like racist now.
Yeah,
But
but
it
isn't he
fits.
like the symbol of the alt-right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude that was wearing like a Pepe frog pin, he got his shit rocked.
Okay, first of all, memes. We need to break down that word. Because there's
Memes.
Stop, that's not even. There's multiple guests that Sylvester always uses in our conversations, but there's one of like these two women. One of them like gets up and like swings her purse. The other one.
They're always threatening me for like or like making fun of me in the group chats. So when I feel like threatened, I'll like send that gift. I'll like try and find it.
Like there's so much text, you gotta leave the hashtag child support. Like what? Dude, I can't even speak about it.
I don't want to speak about it.
I don't
Good.
speak on it. Or the one where the quote, it's like really blurry too. It's like it's been screenshot on the side like 40 times. And then the caption is this is the true galaxy, and it's a picture of Africa with all the planets around it.
And it says white propaganda has lied
White
to you.
propaganda
This
has
time is
lied to you.
Africa.
Hashtag child support. Hashtag mind control. Hashtag slavery.
My God.
Oh my god.
I got your grandmother.
How would I describe you in a meme?
Dr. Eggman.
Yep. Can you show the picture?
The
and then show the
antagonist,
picture
okay.
of you that looks
Big
like.
bushy mustache, beady little glasses, a bald head.
It's not even a meme. Like I just think I look like him in the picture.
And so he changed his whole entire Twitter profile. Was it
So,
when we were in Chicago?
This is when we're in Chicago. All of us in Chicago. This is Dr. Eggman from Sonic. He's the antagonist. And then there's and then this is me also. So so you can see the familial resemblance.
Me and Dez's first real conversation was during squad. I think like the main takeaway from our conversation was like black men are cis het black men are like stop. I didn't know how cis het was pronounced, so I used to say sachet in my head, but I never said it aloud.
Thank God.
Me, you said it to me.
Thank God.
Right, shut up. Cis het black men are like the white people of black people. And he was like, yeah. And I was like, whoa, a cishet said, yeah, he's cool.
Wow.
Like first semester, like we did mostly
Damn.
history of African American music. Sylvester would often, you said, okay, yeah, Sylvester would often go off on these whites
Go off.
for
I mean,
with their shenanigans.
They got too comfortable. And he wasn't going to do it, so I was like, okay, Billy. So
This is funny. I remember seeing Sylvester during our first day of discussion in school, and I was like, oh wow, he seems smart. I remember really liking your glasses. That was something that I noticed.
And you had that
But
bright
then
red
when I
polo.
found out months later that these shits were fake, I felt
Take 'em off.
conned.
Take 'em off.
Scammed.
no.
Look at the camera. Show your focus.
You know.
Show them that 2020 vision.
We were, I don't know if you want to say, so we were at the Cape Cod at some beach in Brewster, and he forgot to bring slides. So then we went back to the cabin, and the cabin floor was kind of musty. So he didn't want to like walk around barefoot. So he just strapped up the combat boots over his pajamas, tucked them in real nice. And he had the do-rag on too with the cape out. So he had the white tank top, the cotton pajamas tucked in the combat boots,
They were
and
Tommy.
the black do-rag with the cape out, and it was a look. And he
And
was,
then Des took a video.
I got a video.
And it was like, I can't believe
this,
the
man.
do-rag with the boots, I cannot believe. And
had-
it's honestly an iconic.
We had grad students flaming him. We had
SZA. Oh, we all went to SZA together. So Sylvester was upset that she was going to be performing in Chicago when he wasn't going to be here because we had to be back in for squad. So he flew down a couple days early so that he could come to the Providence show with us.
You stayed at both my houses. Stayed at my dad's and my mom's house.
And then he came to my house later.
Yes,
Not to say
he was all over
he did.
Bridgewater.
Yeah, that was
Oh, the first thing you saw when you were in Bridgewater was what?
a giant ass Trump flag.
Large.
Like a pickup truck Trump
In the
flag.
wind.
Yeah.
Blowing.
Like
Trump in the
dust
wind.
in the wind. Yeah, it was giant. And I was like, oh, we're on brand today.
I didn't see
Literally-
Confederate flags in the way
Literally
he did.
merged off the highway right into it. It was
Honestly,
Yeah.
the lyrics, I scream that shit. I scream all the lyrics of the whole album.
He does. That's crazy.
Regardless of whether or not it's ever applied to me in my life, doesn't matter. It will for these 3 minutes. I mean, like, I dance. I've been dancing since I was 3. Like trained in dance schools. So like music has always been a big part of my life. Yeah, I don't even know what that would look like, a world without music, because it's something that I literally have to have all the time with me. Like, I'm always listening to music. Yeah, I go to concerts literally all the time.
Yeah, you show like money.
You didn't need to dress like that. No one asked for that side comment.
I think for me, something about music as like art that is really accessible. There's just like something, everybody can make music all the time. You can always sing yourself, and everybody can do it. Whether or not you're a great singer, whether or not you're a great writer, whether or not you're a great beat maker or instrumentalist.
If my life were like a movie or a book, I feel like music would be its own character. And it's been, or characters, it's changed throughout the years. So like when I'm thinking about like home, and specifically like when I'm visiting like my mom's side of the family and we're at like my auntie's house, Auntie Lou's house, in the basement, like we call it like Club 379, because that's like the address of the house. So like Club 379 is always playing like old like blues, or like, but like let's go to like the hole in the wall / the hole in your drawers blues, not like Ella Fitzgerald, like Chicago blues.
I don't need to know what that means.
But like specific like music is tied to like specific things in my life.
Yeah, on that, like this idea of like scoring with music and soundtracks with music, that's something we do all the time. Like even like our friends, just like when we're on the beach and Sylvester is doing the freedom routine. Score, even like movie scores, something I'm really interested in music, but also I think music has a connection to blackness.
Yeah.
Like black people are always at the forefront of popular music throughout all of American history.
Yeah.
No.
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 Okay. I'm like, what do you mean? Okay.
I heard your poetry.
Okay, Tuftsy.
Yeah. I'm just some guy who does artist stuff. I don't consider myself an artist.
I feel like I'm not well versed in anything enough to be called an artist. Like, yeah, I dance, whatever, I write, draw, whatever, but like, I don't call myself an artist. That's a lot.
I mean, Coco, you and Black Guy, we artists now. I changed my answer. We're artists now.
Artist now, today.
First couple weeks, or whenever Blanc, no, it was after Blanc came out.
Because I was in town.
And we were in the Commons like 11 p.m. Like
We
singing,
really-
not just like singing all of Nike's, but then
No.
singing all of Nike's.
We sang
Into
all of
Ivy.
Blonde all the way through it. We did a full acapella
And then singing
performance.
all
We
of
were drumming on the
Ivy.
table.
You guys want to sing it some right now?
I feel put on. That's like it's something that just has to happen.
You
I
gotta
feel
catch
like.
us in like the comments.
We can do it like, you can get like a,
Yeah.
you can get like nice backdrop.